What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Pickleball Court House. My name is Clifford. This episode is brought to you by VARS.
Alrighty, y'all. I'm BK. I'll be your co-host for the day. Cliff and I wanted to start this podcast a while ago. We just thought, we've had a lot of discussions with our friends after pickleball over drinks, and we just figured it's good content, so maybe we should bring it to the public. So that's exactly what we're going to do here today, is we have three of our favorite friends and pickleball players in the house.
I don't know about that.
Well, we call them friends sometimes, but they can be pretty annoying, which is good for a podcast. So without further ado, we got our good friends David Nell, Joey Moore,
Dave the Badger,
and Ed Perez. Dave the Badger, yeah, old school nickname. If you've ever watched some of the pirate videos, that's an old school throwback right there. But how are we doing, guys? Intros?
Good. My name is Dave the Badger Nell. I can speak 6 languages fluent. Born in Cape Town, South Africa. I hold American citizenship, South African citizenship, Namibian citizenship, and British citizenship. So I'm also a 5-0 player, but due to the ratings, I'm a 5-0 player, but I'm probably closer to a 5-5. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Joey, do live, breathe, and eat sleep pickleball. Did this for 5 years. Pickleball Pirates I have. I'm Cliff's #1 competitor. It's more subs than us.
My name's Edward Perez. I've been playing pickleball for a few years, so I got lucky to get introduced to all these guys a couple of years ago, and it's been just got addicted to it. So I'm trying my hand at the pro side, so finding a little success here and there. So, but we'll see how it keeps going.
Yeah, rising star on our hands, so definitely look out for Ed as he rises through the ranks. But without further ado, we're going to get right into this. So one of the topics that we were talking about before we thought about launching the podcast was, of course, all the paddle wars. Cliff right here just came out with this new paddle divorce, so we've been looking at all the technology and what other companies are doing and what they're releasing, and we had a few issues every now and then, but what we really wanted to cover right now is some of the, I want to say, sportsmanship that's going on in the paddle world, as far as some of the colors and stuff that's going on that's really affecting play. MLP recently announced that some colors would be banned from pickleball paddles, but we still have paddle companies coming out with colors that make it really hard to see the ball. So I'm going to let David take this off and go on a little bit of a rant here.
Well, I mean, for one, we have, obviously Selkirk is sponsoring every second player now. So when I'm showing up at Clear One for our weekly little tournament, there's like 20 guys showing up with white paddles. So,
white shirt,
and white shirts as well. And so, under those lights, hands paddles is very tough to be competitive. I know Edward has 002s, yet every time he shows up at Clear One, he shows up with the white Power Air. So I love the Power Air. It's a great paddle. I mean, probably because it's white, nobody can see the ball of it. But, I just think that, it should be banned, as do white shirts, Joey.
We won that tournament. White shirt, white paddle. No one could see the ball coming off my paddle, and I split it up every time.
No, it's
this is why I have white tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It definitely is a problem.
Yeah,
definitely is a problem.
Seriously, this is something the company, they have to start looking into it, because when you get when the light is not that good and you start it's fine when you serve, return, but as soon as the ball start coming fast, so there's no way you can.
Yes, no. In a hands battle, you're a sitting duck.
I mean, Selkirk obviously knows, right? Because even after they announced the color change and everything, they just put out a new paddle that I think it's supposed to release soon, but they've already done all the marketing for it, and it's the exact same color as the Dura ball. It's the exact same beige gold color as the ball. It's got to be intentional, because they got slack for it last time when they released the Tyson colorway, and now they're coming out with a paddle that's completely just the exact color of the Dura. And just to get away with the rules, they put a sliver of black at the bottom so that they meet the percentages that they need.
I think the flip side of it is that everybody's going to buy that paddle, and then once everybody wakes up and starts changing the rule, everybody's going to buy a new paddle. So, good for them. That's a good business strategy.
So what do you mean? Like the same thing that's happened like with the chainsaw serve after the chainsaw serve was banned, like those 5.0 player like 6.0 they become 4.0. This is what you mean?
No. I mean, there's one pro that I can think of that's his career died with the spin serve. But again, the spin serve was pretty brutal.
Morgan Evans.
Huh? No, he's one of my favorite players.
I love Morgan Evans. I've talked to him a bunch. He's so cool.
Oh yeah,
He's a cool
he's
guy. Yeah.
except for the fact that he's Australian. But apart from that, I thought he's got some good tips. I like him.
No, the one thing I think with the Selkirk and just the paddle dilemma is the rule is MLP is banning it, right? It has to be the certain percentages. USAPA is not banning it. PPA is not banning it. APP is not banning it. There needs to be, in the USAPA doesn't have power anymore, like at all. Like the PPA, when you go to play a PPA tournament, the referee doesn't ask you, is this approved? They just check the paddle, make sure that it's not delaminated or has some sticky stuff on it, right?
Mm.
And then when you go to the APP, you have the USAPA officials there, and even they are saying, we can't really do anything, right? They keep telling the pros, hey, it's going to come down eventually that it's going to say a blanket ban on white paddles, but there's no power with it. MLP is going to make up their own rules. PPA is going to have their own rules. APP is going to kind of eventually seem to go and make their own rules as well. So until there's a blanket ban,
And the USAPA is going to disappear.
Exactly. I think the USAPA is going to disappear. You don't have this, in tennis they have certain regulations with tennis and whatnot, and pickleball seems to try to not be as tennis as possible, but they need to look at tennis and take the best out of it and bring it out and then make it their own.
Correct.
I mean, yeah, until the rules change. Again, with all the different organizations that are going on right now, we'll get into the MLP, PPA stuff in a bit, but yeah, there's just too many organizations out there, and until somebody comes up with a standard rule for all of pickleball, I guess companies like Selkirk are free to do whatever they want. Well, we did touch on this. David touched on it a little bit with Selkirk just sponsoring every single person out there. Is it something that you see that will affect the game? Again, MLP and PPA have now given out guaranteed contracts when they went out with their split. So there's a lot of players right now that are getting officially paid to play pickleball, while there's also players like under the Selkirk deals where they're getting paid to play tournaments, they're getting free gear. Selkirk structure is a little bit different, where instead of giving people commissions, they're just giving them gift cards and more free Selkirk stuff, which again, great marketing strategy, no qualms about that. But how do you see all these new companies that are coming in being affected by bigger companies just poaching all the players?
Well, it's going to end up like golf. I mean, you have 500 club companies, and eventually there's going to be 2 or 3 that survives. And if there's somebody that comes out with something great, they're either going to copy it or they're going to buy the company if it gets to patent infringement lawsuits. But I mean, everybody wants to try their hand at making paddles. I mean, it's a low entry barrier, so good for them. I mean, if it wasn't for the guys at Legacy and 6-0, we probably wouldn't have thermoformed paddles in the way that it's going now. So I like new entries into. There's definitely too many. Not everybody's gonna survive, but the good ones will survive, and then eventually you'll see like the real big ones. I don't think. I mean, Joola had real success signing Ben Johns, which Franklin did as well. So, he's kind of like the Tiger Woods in pickleball. But I don't really think that Selkirk. I mean, Selkirk's business strategy of signing up people to sell paddles is obviously it's working for them. So, it's good. Joola's got a different strategy, more like high level players, and no offense, but yeah. So
what do you think about that, Ed?
Well, the one thing I think with like the Selkirk like Emerging Pro program, their advocate program, and all of the disclaimer, I'm a part of the Emerging Pro program. But it's the one thing I think, especially now with the rumors that are out there with like Tyson leaving, they brought Jack Sock in, that got confirmed last week. It's a huge deal that they got Jack Sock, but to me, obviously Jack's not going to sell that many paddles. Like, you know, most of the pickleball community, unless you came from tennis, has no idea who Jack Sock is. Jack Sock, love him as a player. You know, it's guy's awesome, great individual as well. Just in pickleball, he's only played one tournament. He did well with it, but it's like he's not going to sell paddles. The whole Selkirk thing now is, hey, let's sign a bunch of players. Let's try to pick up a bunch of these people and hope to get essentially kind of like the next Colin Schick and type of thing. You know, somebody that's going to start low and get big. But then, but then they're going to make so much money off of that. Like, right, Tyson. Everyone associated Tyson with Selkirk, right? And then Selkirk with Tyson. That was like the perfect combination.
This is my issue too, because when you think about Selkirk, you see Tyson. Same thing when you think about Joola right now.
You think Ben?
Yeah,
exactly. And the thing with Joola, it's like they, you know, right, their biggest moneymaker and seller is Ben Johns, right? If Joola didn't have Ben, I don't think Joola, even though they're this massive conglomerate, I don't think Joola would have had as much success without Ben, right? If they sign anyone else, you know, it's like they got really good players. They got Federico, Leia, they got you know, Colin now. They have Anna Bright, but it's like none of those players, as amazing as they are gonna move millions of units. You know, right? You got Ben, Tyson. Those are kind of like the two big boys, right? And then you have the smaller companies now, I think, that are really kind of pushing the innovation. You know, Selkirk has Selkirk Labs, and they're pushing innovation heavily, and that's great. But then you have these smaller companies like David touched on, Legacy, 6-0, that kind of started this thermofoaming, and then Joola kind of came in and hasn't really, you know, it's not like they're innovating. They're kind of just copying the thermofoam situation and just kind of throwing their stuff on it. Exactly.
I think what Selkirk is trying to do right now is try to be like very different from Joola. So if Joola got Ben Jones like the face, now they try like to get everybody. I think this is one of the reasons that they get rid a little bit of Tyson. So I don't know if it's a right move, it's the best move, but it's their move.
I'm surprised Tyson's going, you know, the rumor, right? It's a rumor. I'm surprised if it is true. If he does go to Joola, I'd be surprised. It's just not, I don't know.
Oh, why it doesn't come to me? Come on, you can play with the virus.
Get the virus.
Yeah, get the virus.
I mean, that move right there is interesting. If you know, we've seen it in tennis. Like, we've had the big three with Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer. And the good thing with that was none of them competed for the same racket company. Like, they never competed for the same company because they all were the face of a specific company. So if Tyson now, if the rumor is right that Tyson's leaving Selkirk for Joola, does that now put him at a lower standing because people will still associate Joola with Ben Johns and not Tyson? And is that going to affect his brand, or is it just going to elevate him up being second fiddle to Ben Johns there too?
This is what I was thinking when they say you should come with virus. Like, start with like a small company. Or start something new. Yes, start something new.
Or they're gonna copy the Selkirk paddle.
Yeah.
You know, the Joola paddle that looks like the Tyson McGuffin Selkirk paddle. Grab some Selkirk customers.
Yeah, I mean, but isn't the thing like you have, if you think of Wilson, right, you automatically think Federer. If I mention Babolat, you automatically think Nadal. If I mention Head, you automatically think Joker. Like, it's just the way things go, because like you're associating that player with that brand based on them being one of the best in the world at what they do. And I don't think there's ever going to come a point where if I mention the name Joola, people are going to think of Tyson instead of Ben.
No.
Everybody's going to still think of Ben. Yeah. Is that hurting Tyson's market value?
Yeah.
Sure.
I would tell you that even now when you talk about Franklin, you're still thinking about Ben Johns.
Yeah. Even though J-Dub's their biggest player now, but you still associate Franklin with Ben Johns. Like,
what paddle company do you think of Anna Lee Waters when I say her?
Yeah, you say Paddle Tech, you think ALW. Yeah,
that's but why is she with Paddle Tech? That's my point.
But the thing is, like, for them, it's mutually successful for them, because if I say Paddle Tech, you're still thinking of ALW and none of their other players.
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So, however, if I say Joola and Tyson now signs with Joola, like, people are still going to associate that with Ben. It's not hurting Joola in any way, but is it hurting Tyson to sign with a brand where not only is he second fiddle in the rankings to Ben Johns for years and years and years, but he's also now going to be second fiddle in a paddle company where he could be the face of someone new that's going to compete with Joola, versus now Joola would probably just dominate the market and Tyson will play second fiddle. Would you rather see him somewhere else and help him grow his own brand?
No, I mean, if you look at like tailor-made in golf, like they send all the top guys, right? So what you're gonna see is you're gonna see Tyson go to Joola, and they're gonna make him a paddle that looks like Selkirk.
Just change the branding up a bit, so like completely look different from what Ben Johnson had.
Hopefully, will not be white. No, it's gonna have the hole. It's gonna have the shape, everything.
I guarantee it's gonna be white.
I wouldn't be surprised if Joola made some.
They came out with a white pattern.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they made some version of like the 002, right?
Yeah, it might be like
Yeah.
red and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think love Tyson to death, but I think him leaving Selkirk, and who knows what's going on in the background with it all, right? But it's like, again, right, the branding itself, even though Tyson hasn't worn Selkirk clothing in, whatever it is, a year and a half. He's got Skechers now. He's got what's the other big one that he's with?
Chubbies.
Yeah, Chubbies and whatnot. But it's like those two big companies right there are kind of behind them on the clothing front. Same thing with like Catherine, right? Catherine doesn't wear anything Selkirk. It's all Skechers. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like Julian Arnold, I feel like he kind of went smart about it and just said, I'm just gonna go make my own paddle and just do whatever I want and be happy with it, right? And he gets to do whatever he needs to do. And then same thing with like Riley Newman, right? He left Gamma because Gamma was not giving him, I guess, what he wanted, and then he just went to Takea, and Takea said, "Hey, we'll pay you to go to Taiwan. Go do your go do whatever you want to do." So and he's got new stuff coming out too. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you brought up the 002. That is something I wanted to talk about. Selkirk have they officially announced that they're taking it off the market? But the rumor is they're taking it off the market, and even though it was their best paddle, it was the paddle that all the pros preferred, is probably the best paddle in their lineup, but the rumor is that the cost of production for them was too high, even though they're charging $300+ a paddle. Is that something that you see will affect more players down the line with Selkirk not competing quality-wise? Like, I don't know anybody that has a Selkirk paddle in tier 1 or tier 2 of like the best paddles in the market, but they're taking away their number 1 selling paddle or number 1 performing paddle for a reason, which is just money. Like, they're not making enough money off of it.
Well, maybe the reason they're not making money off of it is because no one can play it except the pros. Like, it's a tough paddle to play with. So it's very poppy. So it takes quite a while to get used to. Once you're used to it, it's a great. I played with Mike quite a bit. It's really nice, especially for singles and doubles. You better have buttery hand. I mean, that thing is tough to play with. So they probably don't sell a lot of them. Maybe they don't sell it many.
This is one of the things I want to touch too, because usually people confuse that. So let's say, I don't know, maybe 10% or 5% of the pro that play with the paddle. That doesn't mean because like Benjamin is playing like with the purses, you're going to buy the purses, he's going to make you a better player, you're going to play better with it. I think this is one of the things I would like to start like teaching in this podcast, like start like educate people about paddle. So let's say, depend of your level, what you are looking for in a paddle. So since I've been like, now I'm like in the paddle industry now, so I have to study. So I know a lot about paddle now. So yeah, I just want to help. So this is the idea. This is one of the reasons we made Virus too. So we make like a paddle that is easy like to play with. It doesn't matter your level, and we can adapt like with almost like everybody. Okay, even Mark Napatovic is still complaining about it.
Kyle Yates loved it. Kyle Yates loved it. You did. That's a fact.
Yeah. So this is the thing.
I think they need to go down the route of, like, just in tennis, right? No tennis player that is ranked in the top 50, top 100, top 200, whatever. None of them are playing with stock rackets at all. Like Roger, I remember in 2015, I can remember this vividly. I'm at the Delray Beach Open, and Steve Johnson, I'm watching him practice, and his hand slipped. Racket flies out, it cracks a little bit. He gives it to me. I'm the only person there watching him practice. Gives me the racket. And it's a Babolat Arrow, the Babolat, the one that Dow uses, the yellow one. And I'm thinking, no, Steve Johnson.
Okay, yeah.
And I grabbed the racket, and I'm all excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. But then when I went to the store, I took the Babolat stock Babolat, and they're completely different things. And then I find out that with tennis, it's all molds. So like Djokovic is using the mold from like 1998. Andy Murray's using a mold, a head radical mold from like 1995. Nadal's using the same racket that he's been using for whatever 10 years. Federer was using the same pro staff that he had been using since the start of his career, up until 2015 when he made the switch finally, and then that revitalized his career. I think pickleball, and this is where we were talking about earlier with the USAPA not having all that much power, and it's going to go up to the pro tour soon. I think pros need to just have their own thing. Just have an 002 or something. Like, if you don't want to make it available to the public anymore, just have the 002 be in the hands of Tyson and whoever, and then out in the market, then you'll have the power errors and whatnot.
No, I hear what you're saying, but it's, does it make sense to have so this is the thing with Tyson. So when the 002 came out first, the first time it came out, he was still playing with the old Invictus, right? So you've got this guy just on, social media and advertising, just singing the praises of this paddle and how great it is. And he shows up at a tournament with playing another paddle. So, now you're like, okay, so why isn't he playing, at least with the rackets, it's very similar. I mean, it's obviously the rackets are like way heavier and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can hide it a little bit.
But you can hide it, but at least it looks similar. But again, to the fact, I think that the pros now are playing like customized paddles. I mean, I've heard that Annalie Waters got the loudest paddle in the tournament. So maybe she's got a Kevlar core in hers, which is tremendously poppy, but which is not going to work for the average player. But it looks the same. So,
I mean, that is a big one. Annalie very obviously has a paddle that is not on the market. Like her paddle with Paddle Tech, I think they released it with the Bantam with just her design on it, but she's obviously not using the Bantam. Like, that is not what she's using. Wow. Her paddle is extraordinary, but again, I think the problem with Paddle Tech was the cost of production to make her specific paddle is so high. They don't want to put that out to the market because then they'd have to charge like $400, $500 a piece for it, which they don't want to do. And I think that's the problem that Selkirk ran into was they were giving the pros a paddle that was very expensive to make, and then they were charging the public $333 for it, so nobody wanted to pay for it and buy it, which now meant that paddle was not making any money for them, so now they have to take it off the market. But as Ed said, I think like it's got to come to the point where the pros are just going to have different paddles than the amateurs, just because the pros are going to need more specific equipment tailored to them. So that is something to look out for. I know the cost of paddles have been going up, but with the new thermoform paddles, I think we've settled on a nice niche at about $180, but
it's way too expensive.
There are, again,
It's not.
Well,
I
compared
don't think 180.
compared to Carbon and Selkirk that are charging over $250 and Engage charging over $250 a paddle.
What you're saying, but let's compare it to tennis rackets.
Yeah.
And if you look at the numbers that which I think is fake, they're saying like 36 million people are playing pickleball. So these guys must be selling a lot of paddles so that
they double counted everyone.
They gotta they gotta be selling paddles.
100% inflated, but
Do you know how much it's gonna cost you like to make a paddle? So
50 cents.
So you don't have any idea. So I mean, this is why you giving your opinion.
The thing is, what I'm saying is like if you, how many paddles does Joola sell? A million? Let's say
way more than that. Yeah, gotta be more.
Gotta be more. I feel
gotta
like.
be more.
Let's say a million. When you have a million paddles in your production, like it's not going to be above $20.
Yeah, maybe, but this is the cost of the paddle.
Yes, you gotta have to. You gotta pay Ben John's $20 million.
Not
But right now the margins are really high for profit margins are really high.
you have to pay tax, you have to pay for shipping. Like there's a lot.
You have to accept returns, warranty. Yeah.
The one thing I will say too, and it's like, the pickleball paddle industry is a lot more lucrative, I feel like, compared to that of obviously like tennis or golf or something. Yeah. I am surprised, and this doesn't get talked about enough. Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
I am surprised the big tennis companies haven't actually taken pickleball seriously.
Because
Wilson, Babolat, Head, none of them are taking pickleball seriously. It's crazy.
I'll tell you something. You need to know So what you have to do, you have to find somebody that knows, like, actually about paddle, about that really play pickleball. So this is the idea with me. I've been playing like for a long time, and I've been teaching too. So I understand people. I work with people. I know like a 3.5 and 4.50, like a 6.0 top pro. I know what they're looking for. Okay, so when you have that knowledge, that gives you like that possibility, like to create something. You're not gonna go. I would never like create a. If you're a pro right now, it doesn't matter who you are right now. You're gonna play with the virus paddle. You're gonna say, okay, I can play with it. They're not gonna play with it because they're like under contract. Okay, but they're never gonna say, oh, that is just garbage, because actually what they need, they're gonna fight it in the paddle. That's it. It's just the shoe, because I know what I was doing, and I put it together very well.
No, absolutely. And that's the one thing I like about smaller companies is that you have that more control with the production, and you can talk to people on the ground and stuff. I've heard. Yeah, exactly. And I've heard from, like, say, for example, a Scott Fliegelman, who's a senior pro. He was a consultant for Babolat, and then he left. And then Babolat hasn't built a good paddle in, who knows how long, if they ever had one. Eric Lang was working. Yeah, exactly. Eric Lang was working with Head, and now he's gone to go play pro pickleball. Wilson, I don't know. I think they had one pro. I think it was well, what's it called?
Nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, but now he's with Joola, huh?
Yeah,
He's with Joola.
Adidas, they got all the money in the world.
Yeah, but here's the one thing with Adidas is, bombshell. Adidas has nothing to do with Adidas. It's just a licensing deal. It's it's just a company that they came from Padel. So, and the same thing, and they had a licensing deal in Padel with Adidas. So it's not actually Adidas, right?
Okay.
That's why Nike. That's like Nike, right?
Yeah, they just get to sell off the name.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Just
use the name
licensing
to sell,
deals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like, I don't think Wilson, Head, Babolat, they'll ever take pickleball seriously, because, again, market is right now, it's way too saturated, and from a business sense, it doesn't make sense for them to come in when they have such an established force on the other side.
The only thing they have to do, if somebody tells me, if Babolat comes to me and say, run our pickleball equipment brand, I said, right, give me 10 mil and I'll sign Ben Johns. Money in the bank. He's going to sell 1 million paddles on his own. That's, look at Franklin.
It's true, actually.
Yeah. Franklin was,
But Ben John's got a laugh contract with you.
we'll buy him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's going to be somebody. There's going to be, like, look at this, right?
There's still going to be people that you
Yeah, pickleball is such a
guys like
young
Connor Garnett coming up.
Yeah. Pickleball's such a young sport, right?
The guy that moves the needle.
Somebody in 10 years is going to be even better than what Ben was, and somebody after that, like, who would, in 1994 or 96, right, when Pete Sampras is at the top of the game, when he hit 14 grand slams, I don't think a single human being on this earth is like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to surpass that. When Kareem hit, whatever it was, 32,000 points or whatever, I don't think anyone thought somebody's going to surpass that, so.
That's fair.
When Jack Nicklaus won, his all his majors, Tiger came close.
Yeah.
He didn't cheat on his girl, he was on it.
Well, speaking of players that move the needle, we did talk about the MLP PPA merger just a touch, but right before they merged, they were obviously split. There was some bad blood going on, and both companies were in a scramble to sign all the pros. So now we have all these players that are under contract that could potentially move the needle at some point. But what are your thoughts about, one, the MLP and PPA originally coming together, talking about a deal, and then splitting up, signing all the players, and now coming back together? It's just been a wild ride.
I think I feel bad for, like, the decision makers on the lower end that were signing all the players, because what I've been told is, like, there were budgets and they said, hey, go sign who you can, and then they went all out. But at the top, they weren't connected, right? Like Steve Kuhn and Dundon were not speaking to these leaders, right? And then so you had this massive war going on for a week. All these players get signed, and then it's like they're gonna all these players are gonna have guaranteed money. I've been told that none of these contracts are being voided. It's all gonna be legit. They're all gonna be enforced starting January 1. But you're gonna have 24 teams in MLP, and you're gonna have 150 players when only 96 slots are available, right? So it's going to be weird. It'll be weird to see what's going to happen when you have all this money being guaranteed to a lot of players and not, MLP itself is not for what I've been seeing isn't making a lot of money. Like,
Well, I mean, so
So how they do the how they make money? First of all,
I don't know in reality. Like, you have sponsorships, right? You have sponsorships and whatnot.
Yeah.
But even like broadcasting, right? Like everything's on YouTube. So you're not really making money off broadcasting deals.
There's some stuff on.
I think they put the
ESPN.
Yeah, I think you put the
CBS,
finals,
stuff
right?
like-
Now the reason I think MLP has a lot more money than PPA does is because MLP has teams and
Yep.
teams have owners. So like that's where their money right now is coming from, is people that are investing into the sport hoping it pick up. So
And they have Steve.
so like most leagues, like they have teams and team owners that are pitching in the money to pay the players and all of that, because again they run the teams and they're hoping that the teams will eventually make money. So they're doing like clinics. Again, we have the Orlando Squeeze in our backyard, and they're running tournaments. They're selling merchandise. They're doing all this different stuff to market their events. They're bring players, like all their pro players, out to events. Again, they're trying different ways to make money. So again, because the team owners are incentivized to make this work for themselves, they're putting in money so that they can get back more money. So obviously the MLP has more money than the PPA does. Yeah, again, long way to go, but the team owners are rich. Like for them, this
We
is
have like what?
Yeah, but I
LeBron
will say-
James, Drew Brees, Draymond Green. I mean, MLP won't go out of business.
Yeah,
Like it won't.
But
you
the
know that
PPA on the
by
other
a ton
hand,
of money.
this whole like scramble happened. Like they got nothing but what they have, right? So like, because they don't have like 24 team owners to bank on that can kind of fund their process. So again, they ended up, I think, with much less players in the MLP side, right?
Yeah, I think it was. I think the quality they were top heavy. Right?
Yeah, like they got Ben
PPAs.
Johnson and Elite,
Yep.
and there was a significant drop off because like MLP ended up getting everybody else. And the one good thing when they were split and had all these permanent contracts was, since they were two separate branches, now there was a lot more room for amateurs to rise up the ranks, is because they could play two separate things. But now that they're merged, as you mentioned, like there's probably 96 pro slots available and like 150 signed players, which means players that are not signed, how are they now going to try and get into this professional pickleball world when MLP and PPA now are incentivized to bring up the 150 that they've already signed because they're paying these players, so they have no incentive to go out and recruit new talent? Like, how do you think that affects the sport?
So two things I want to touch
to
on.
become a rich person's. Yeah. If
Yeah,
you don't have rich parents, you're not going to be able, like.
yeah. It might turn into the bad parts of tennis, where money is going to win and you're going to miss out on a lot of talent, right? This is why soccer, is great, because it's like you could be a poor kid in the middle of Brazil, and if you are darn good, you're going to get noticed, right? But two things I want to touch on. In terms of MLP, at one point, these owners are going to be annoyed, and, to what I'm thinking, they're going to get annoyed getting capital called every other month saying, hey, we need another million. And they have a lot of these original owners that are, they all invested whatever it was, 250 at the beginning, saying, man,
Yeah.
now we're in for, 10 million. Like, where are we getting, how are we going to recoup this money?
China.
So
about that?
China.
we need time to get the bailout.
China, the Saudis.
from the Chinese bank.
Saudis got money to splash. Well prices at $350. Get the oil. Get the
Pickleball lives.
pumping oil.
But then to touch on the question with, having all these pros and not having enough slots, they need to, this is again where I keep bringing up, tennis has a great system, albeit on the money side, it's not that, it's not the best in the world, but it's like you have the Futures Tournaments Challenger, and then you have the ATP World Tour. PPA, earlier this year, I played in an event called the PPA Futures Tournament in Salt Lake City. And the whole point of the tournament was, hey, they basically advertised it. If you were playing in qualifiers and you keep making the main draw, but then you keep losing the first or second round, this is your tournament to go to, because it gave you points, it gave you prize money, and the winners, the gold medal winners of each of these events, singles, mixed doubles, and doubles, got a PPA tour card for 3 months.
That's cool.
It was cool. Like you had, for example, on the single side of things, it was like, I got fourth place. I lost to Jaume Martinez Vic,
Good player.
who was a top 5, top 10 player right now.
Yeah.
Lost to him. In the actual draw itself, in the singles draw, you had a lot of these really good players that were all playing. On doubles, a lot of really good players, like, Todd Fote, who's playing for, who just won MLP just now.
Yeah.
He was playing in it. You had all these other really good players. Susanna Barr was playing on the women's side. Allie Phillips was playing. Angie Walker. You had all these like really good players that just one of the points for the PPA and one of the tour card. If the PPA or MLP does some sort of developmental system, you can't put the APP in there. APP is its own system. They have their own tournaments. People keep bringing up like, oh, the APP could be developmental, but the APP's got their own. Yeah, they have their own developmental system with its next.
They develop, and I mean, the guy develops them. Great for him, and then they sign with the MLP.
Exactly, and they're making,
That's exactly what
all these next gen players are making so much money now. So great job, Ken Herman.
Problem. I mean, good.
I love Ken Herman.
If they let's say they spent 40 million, they probably spent like 40 million on these new contracts. I would say instead of just giving 100 players this 40 million, because they're not now people saying, well, they're going to quit their day jobs, they're going to, practice and get better. They're also going to get older, but nobody new is coming in because who's going to pay $2K to shop at a tournament? Play the qualifiers. You make the qualifiers just to play Ben Johns in the first round. So I would say use the money to have like a deeper payout structure. So then at least when you get to the main draw, first round, you should get paid. And have a system where, if you have a tour card, you get your travel reimbursed. Stuff like that. Make it the entry easier. Now it's just getting tougher because all the money's now going to these 100,
This is why Selkirk is so successful, because what they're doing right now for this amateur, they're giving them like money, the possibility like to play those tournaments.
Yeah, but it's still a drop in the bucket.
It's still.
Well, the thing is too, if you're a PPA signed player, or APP signed player, or MLP signed player, you don't have to pay anything, right? Like, for example, I saw on Facebook somebody put it's going to cost them to play all 3 events in the PPA Daytona tournament. It's going to cost $595 to play 3 events in pro, and that's just qualifying.
That's not, that's right. I mean, I've done that before.
Even tennis isn't even that expensive.
Yeah.
Golf, it's like if you are good enough to go in golf and go play a Q school, that's expensive, but if you do well, that is lucrative. If you make the main draw in the PPA, you get $0.
And to qualify, you have to win like 5 matches.
Yeah, you gotta
qualify.
And you gotta pay flights, you gotta pay food, you gotta pay
hotel rental,
ramping. So the $500, like, I mean, you're probably, if you want to be a full-time pickleball player, you're gonna spend 50,000-60,000 a year on travel.
I would just
getting to the
Yeah.
You're gonna get hotels every night.
So it's gonna be like golf, but in golf there's a lot more people making money.
Yeah, no, it is a problem because, again, now that you're paying all these players, like, you have no incentive at all to help the amateurs out to come up through the ranks. So, like, anybody that's trying to become pro now that's not already signed by the PPA or MLP is going to, as you said, have to shell out like $50K just to play all the pro tournaments over the year, just so they have an opportunity to go get knocked out by Ben Johns in the first round. Because, again, there's nowhere to earn points, so you're always going to get the terrible draw when you get into the main draw. You're going to play the best players that are out there. And then when you do that,
you're going to play them fresh. They're going to be fresh.
Yeah, you're coming off of 4 games. They're coming off of nothing, just warming up. They're obviously going to beat you for the most part. And then what that means is now you get no points off of that either, because, like, you're losing in the first round every time. So, like, you have nowhere to grow because you're never getting enough points to get better, to not play the best guys in the first round, which means now we're just going to have the top 32 will just be the same top 32 every single tournament. And I think most of these players signed, 3-year contracts? So for the next 3 years, there's no developmental aspect to the sport at all.
One other thing. Ed found this out too. It's very tough to try to play against these people, like a JW, like to get into that group. And that's like the only way. They hit it so fast. Like, what do you think, Ed? Do you think?
It's, on just developmental side, there's really nothing. Like, APP did a great job with their next gen program, but again, it's only for a certain age group, and getting to travel and getting to all these tournaments and paying for all this stuff. But there's nothing else. Like, I think MLP, the whole minor league setup that they currently have is cool. It's fun. It's a great team environment. But how does that help develop it? It's just it's 4 random people that show up in a random place, go and win $2,500, and then that's it. And then, like, it's just random. Why not make the minor league pickleball system similar to that of baseball or even the G League and the NBA and make it affiliated? Like, have the Orlando Squeeze have a minor league affiliate team that also travels around and stuff, and maybe they'll play the week of MLP. Maybe that Tuesday, Wednesday when they don't play, have minor league pickleball that day.
that's all good, but I mean, you still have to make money to do those.
True.
Let me tell you a story, okay? So I have to convince my boss to give me like a day off, and that day off is gonna be on Saturday because I work too on Saturday, right? So I went to play the PPA, okay? I played like in my group, like 3 matches in run. Or you can imagine winning like by best 3 out of 2. So you can imagine like in the sun, like I'm already dead. Like we're talking about like 6 matches, right? So now I go to qualify and I play, I win. So now guess who I'm gonna play against? I'm gonna play against Tyson and Jay.
I remember that.
Okay, those guys, they come fresh. I say, what the heck? I'm already dying. They're just like, oh, we just came here. This is gonna be our first one. I said, what the heck? So they kill me. And I just realized, okay, actually those guys, they do that for a living. Okay. And now after that, I call my boss. I say, okay, I'm gonna do overtime too, bro.
To pay for the PPA entry fee.
Yeah, no money. I'm not ready for that. So what I want to tell you guys, if you don't have money, because this is what they do for a living. So you not gonna imagine like how hard it was for me, like to get to that point to play them. And they just beat me like 11-1, 11-3.
0.
Yeah, you got crushed.
Yeah, you only had 1 point.
They were good. They were good points. We only won.
Let's say what I'm,
And I think they lost the next match like 2-2.
and you know what is funny? Even the point they like low point, but at the end I'm the one like ended up making the mistake. So this is where I realized, oh, those guys, they do that for a living. So when I think about myself, I say, what do you do for a living, Cliff? I build stuff. So this is why I call my boss. I say, okay, I'm gonna take the next project. I'm gonna build that walking deck. This is what I'm good at. So what I want to tell you, right now, it's like almost impossible. If you want like to get to the pro, to play the pro, it's expensive and you're not used to it because this is what they do. Okay, even you may have the skills, but when you're gonna play against those guys, believe me, it's not the same.
Yeah, but I mean that's for all sports. You look at so basketball and football, they've got the college system, which is great. But again, the kids that have the best coaches, the best trainers, the same thing with tennis, the parents that can send them to IMG, they become full-time tennis players from, like 6 or 7 years old. So it's a money game. Pickleball was supposed to change that, and it didn't.
Yeah, I would equate it to like boxing. Like if you're gonna box a southpaw boxer, like you got to spar with them. And I would say like if you're not sparring with the top player, you're gonna get crushed. And plus, it's gonna be super pressure, like Ed said.
I'll tell you something, Joey. I played pro in my life, so I know what it's very hard. This is not something you can just say, okay, I'm gonna be a pro. No, this is like a job. Okay, you have to take it like a job.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, this is what I used to do. I would train like 5 days a week, 3 to 4 hours, and sometimes 6 days a week. This is how I become good at what I'm doing. So I trained like for 3 years.
What did you train?
You got good at something?
What did you train for? What did you train for?
Table tennis.
Oh, table tennis.
He's sick at table tennis. Yeah.
Table tennis.
Used to be.
Were you a pro?
Yeah, I was living out of that.
Oh, okay.
So that was like my living.
Could you beat Patricio?
Yeah, I can beat Patricia.
Oh, okay.
Being fat, I got a little bit fat too, but
got fat.
2 fat guys playing. But Patricio was a pro too.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was doing that for a living. So this is the difference. You may have the talent, you may have the skills, but if you don't train, not only your body, like your mind too, because believe me, when you're gonna play in front of like, I don't know, 10,000 people, 20,000 people, that's gonna affect you. Yeah. That day was like my first day playing in the championship court. So I didn't know. I was like nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous. And I'm gonna play first time against Tyson and Jay. Okay, I'm nervous at first, but I still playing my game. But what I realized, as I say before, Those guys, they do that for living. So I don't do that for living. I don't have that kind of consistency they have. And that you can see that look in their face. They want to kill me. Hey, you between my money. I'm going to go get my money. I was like, just, okay, I'm trying to have fun. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean that's a great excuse, but you still only got 1 point. That is just ridiculous.
they not good.
Yeah.
And that was like 2 years ago, David.
Yeah,
2
you
years
were
ago.
still,
Get over it. Get over it.
you will still fast.
I got a little bit better now.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I think is there was no long-term vision in it at all when they went through that scramble of MLP PPA. Like, there was absolutely no long-term vision there. They were just like scrambling to sign all the players. And now probably for the next couple of years, it's going to hurt the sport when it comes to amateur
I mean,
development. So,
because you're seeing the same faces. You see,
Yeah,
you know,
so-
I don't even watch PPA anymore because Annalie Waters, when she steps on the court,
Yeah.
she's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Benny wins everything. The Johns brothers, I mean,
It's like you can see the future now.
how do you,
You can see the
how do
future.
you, how
can
do you
see
bet on that?
Yeah.
Then the MLP, you stick Ben with like the worst player,
yeah.
and he doesn't see any balls. You know,
Yeah.
that's also not great to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is they were gonna have to take some notes from the tennis world. I know Ed and I coming from that world, like it's definitely better if they can like distribute the prize money all the way down, so that even if you make the main draw, you're making something off of that.
Yeah.
So that now you can use that money to pay for future tournaments or like train or do whatever, so you can grow in the sport, get better, and get to the level of an Annalie or Ben John, so that now they have some
not at
competition.
least like if he says if there's tour cards, you know, at least get your stuff paid or get discounts or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, make
Yeah.
it easier.
Oh, 100%. They need to do another interesting thing. Somebody had brought up to me before was one thing to make it cheaper. Just knock down the fees to try to sign up,
Yeah.
and just make it a
Yeah.
ranking system. Don't
Yeah.
have some random 4-0 that pays this $500 something to just show up in the draw and then get absolutely demolished.
Yeah,
It's like make it a ranking.
They want
you
to
know?
make the money.
Yeah.
too, so-
But then say you have no ranking. Say you are just somebody random, like you're a tennis player, pro tennis player that's coming in. It's like, yeah, you can get the wild card and stuff like that. But in the qualifying aspect, lower the qualifying drop. Make it a certain amount. Cap it so you don't have all these random people. And then go off of ranking. Because if you go off of ranking, then it's going to kind of fix some different things in terms of you're not going to have the random people. You'll have the people that are pretty bad at pickleball in reality that are trying to go pro, for example. You lower the fees. And one big thing, too, is if you lower the fees, like the amateurs are going to pay for it anyway, right? Like there's 1,000 amateurs signing up in all these tournaments. If you have the qualifying brackets be, you know, that little bit smaller, now you're kind of pushing people to go into the amateur bracket and play 5-0. And then you can kind of give, you know how like nationals now, it's not really what's
It's a
the word?
circus.
Yeah, it's a whole circus with it, right? It's no longer like, oh, if you win gold, yeah, you're in.
all that. Like
Golden ticket's gone.
It's gone.
You could just show up and play now.
Yeah.
Make the 5-0 if
Give
you
us the
win.
best sandbagger wins the gold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But say you're a 5-0 player, right, and you win 5-0 in a tournament, that could be kind of like a key, your ticket to go into qualifying in the next pro tournament.
Yeah.
That could be something interesting.
Yeah.
So, and then you bring back the 5-0 division. I go to these 5-0 tournaments, and it's like the one in Cincinnati that AJ and Roger got silver in. It was a good bracket, but there were like, I think there were like 28 teams or something, solid bracket, but there were some teams that I saw in the early parts of it that were not 5-0. There were 4-5s, 4-0s that were
I
playing.
can see that.
You know.
to go there.
But that
You
is
don't
also
even
kind
wanna-
of like the appeal of pickleball is, you can show up at a tournament, pay a hefty fee, and have a chance to play against, the number one player in the world. Like you're not going to be able to do that in tennis.
No.
So
But
Yeah, but even those days are
right
gone now.
It's kind of almost impossible. For you.
Yeah.
Yeah, those days are gone. I gotta
I
my
got lucky in my
Like
time.
you're paying
yeah.
to play players that you're
Doing
probably
same, right?
already playing with. Like,
Yeah,
that's the guys that you're playing with is like the guys that are playing the qualifiers all the time, or guys that you're training with in your area that are also going to be playing the qualifier if that tournament doesn't move to
exactly.
your location. So like you're really paying $500 to go play people you play every day, or play people you've already played a lot before, because again, there's no opportunity for growth. So something's got to change on that aspect.
So one of the reasons, like, we're doing that podcast, we need people like to have some information and to learn something from us, because they might not know like who we are. So this is what we're gonna do right now, David. So you're gonna introduce yourself, like not your private life, nothing like that. So talk about your journey, like in pickleball. So how did you start? Where you are right now?
Okay, so you know, I played tennis in high school. Rugby and cricket was kind of my main sports. Came to the US. Obviously, there's no rugby, no cricket, but there's tennis. But finding somebody to play tennis against is like impossible. So, and then I started playing racquetball. It was kind of semi. What's the word I'm looking for? Organized. So there was kind of little games and all that kind of stuff, and then it just kind of died down. And it's pretty hard on the body. And somebody just said, "Hey, why don't you come play pickleball?" And I said, "Well, I'll come play pickleball." It was pretty good. So, so I think pickleball. What really got me first was the back when the USAPA was running stuff. It was, there was all these tournaments that you can go play and be competitive, because that's, ultimately when I go play golf, I'm just not going to walk around. I need to play somebody for money. So pickleball,
I think they call that a gambling problem.
Pickleball was giving me that opportunity. Not maybe playing for money until Joey arrived.
So
That was really lucrative. So, we started playing for $20 a game, and then Joey was doubling up, and I think we ended up playing for $1,000 a
I
game.
owe you
And then-
$400. I will pay you back. I will.
Yeah, and then the people just, they started getting offended by, us playing for money and all that kind of stuff. But
Or I think they said you were taking advantage of me.
yeah, which I was. But
Guaranteed. Yeah, no doubt.
so pickleball gave me that ability to be competitive. At the moment, I'm in a little bit of a tough spot to where, do I waste my time to go play 5-0, or do I go waste my time to go play pro? So I'll just, stick it out for the next 2 or 3 years, and maybe, give senior pro a shot. We don't have a lot of partners available in Orlando.
Time for the money balls, David. Time for the money balls.
David, I want to know, what, obviously when you start, I don't know, you didn't start like a 5-0. So what was your process? What did you do to become to have that level you have right now?
I was born with talent. It's something you're born with. So no, I mean, when you transition from tennis, I think it's a very easy transition. So, and then, obviously the racquetball was very detrimental, because racquetball's a lot of swinging, a lot of risk.
Well, got grades.
Yeah, long strokes. So, and then, I got a coach, and, that's kind of was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. That's kind of the only way to get better is you can play 1,000 times, but you got to get your technique down. So you need to take lessons. Before you buy a paddle, before you buy Cliff's paddle, go buy Cliff's lessons.
I don't think the paddle can do the job for you, David. Unless you're a 2.5
Yeah,
or 4.0.
yeah. So now that's it.
All right. What about you, Joey?
So basically,
Joey started. Can I
David-
just say, Joey started as a 4.5, and he's a 4.0 now.
I did
So
something.
I don't know what he's doing wrong, but he's going the other way.
So basically, David spent how much did you spend on Tony with lessons?
Probably-
50,000.
Probably half a mil.
No, seriously, he spent at least 70,000. He's taught
More
me
than that.
everything I know, David. But really, Tony, because But
Yeah.
I found pickleball 5 years ago, and I really was going through a really tough time in my life. I think that's why pickleball is growing so fast, because there's no barriers to entry. It's cheap to enter. You could go to any park in America and get decent games, not four games, maybe 3-5 games, but I love it. I think you meet a ton of friends, and I've never taken a lesson, but David did spend $70,000.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I did give you a lot of tips, so it's kind of So you did get lists.
And shoes.
So what about you, Ed?
I took the more traditional route. Like I started playing maybe 2.5 years ago, give or take. Played in my local park in St. Cloud. Was out there playing tennis, and I was a decent tennis player. I think I had the talent to maybe go Division II. Like that was about it.
Play L2.
So like I played a couple L2s, L3s, stuff like that. But I wasn't that good. There was no chance for me to ever go Division I.
You were no good.
No, not at all. It wasn't even close. And when I was playing tennis with an old buddy of mine, and all of a sudden they were playing pickleball in St. Cloud. I'm like, the heck is a sport? Like this is the stuff these are the lines that are on my tennis courts. And I felt bad though, because 40 people pull up out of nowhere. 40 people pull up, and they only have 2 courts on one of the tennis courts. And I'm thinking, man, I'm that guy. I'm going to be that guy that's denying these people, their sports. I was like, hey, I got to get going. The lady comes up to me by the name of Mady, awesome lady, gives me a paddle. I was like, try it. Got hooked. Never played tennis again. I said, this is the worst sport ever. Tennis sucks. So, thank you, Travis and Graham. But they kind of started out just low. I was a 3.5, built my way to 4.0. Won this 4.0 tournament at Clear 1, so I can go and play with the big dogs at Clear 1. Nice. Play 4.5, and then just kind of progress from there. And then
I met him at a tournament, right?
Yeah.
We met. We played you and your dad, I think.
Yeah, I played. I started playing with my dad for a little bit. So our first 4.0, couple 4.0, 4.5, 5.0 tournaments. Played with my dad, and then after this one 5.0 tournament, we played Joey and this guy Ankush. And we beat them.
Where are you, man?
Yeah, we beat them. But then after that, I realized I think my dad might be too old to play these young guys.
That was the last time I played with Ankush.
But after that, end of 2021, I tried my hand at some pro tournaments. I was better in singles than I was doubles. I couldn't dink for my life. I still might not be able to dink.
No, you got it really good. You couldn't.
2022 tried a couple more pro tournaments, but I think I played like maybe 5 in a row or something in the spring, and then summer just took off completely. Last fall played, and then this year I've said might as well just play as many pro tournaments as I can just to try to get better, get my name out there. So I've had not the results I wanted to, but
I thought that's good win. Do you think that's because of talent, or do you think that's because of the mental aspect?
I think the mental more than anything. I think I genuinely I don't want to ego myself, but I think like when I played the other day in Cincinnati, I played against James and Tyson, and scoreline we lost 11-1, 11-1. I go back through the video, and my partner and I, Drew, were in every single point, and literally every point that we lost was just an error from us. Yeah, it's just an unforced error. Like I think the first 2 points that James got on me was James, I think, slapped one at me. I scorpioned it, and I was on it, missed it. I'm thinking, okay, that's fine, whatever. Second point, James speeds it up again. It hits the net, goes high, but it was so quick. I'm on it again. Guess what? Missed. So it's just like these stupid mistakes, and I'm like, how am I missing it? And then just that was the entire match. It was like 20-shot dink rally, fast hands, reset, miss. And I think that's just that's the difference between just a bona fide pro and somebody like me that's trying to make it, where it's like you could stick with it 99% of the time, and it's just that 1%, that one little hit. Eventually,
they do keep it all alive.
Yeah, exactly. They keep it going.
How did Drew play? Your partner,
Drew played awesome.
Yeah,
Drew played awesome.
Yeah.
Love Drew.
Okay.
So my question would be like, so someone that is watching you right now, so what can you tell them, like, if they want to improve? Because as you can see, you start your way like from 2.0, and now you're playing pro. So
I'd say play with as many people as possible and go to different parks, go to different facilities, go play with different people. There's no reason that you should stay in the exact same spot at the same park or something in the same court and play with the same group of people day in, day out. Go travel, go play with different people, because that's what's going to get you better. So it's like our group at Clear 1, that's why we were, and we were a good group, because we all go and play with different people, and then we bring stuff back. Like Cliff last week or a couple weeks ago went to go play with Tina Pisnick and that group in St. Petersburg. And it was awesome, right? I go to Boca and go play with them. I go to Jacksonville. I go to Tampa, St. Pete.
Well, what I've noticed is, I mean, we've had a lot of pros come through to Clear 1, and we have a decent success for working men, but there's no results on the tour.
Yeah.
There's no results on the tour.
this is what I want to touch, David, because you giving advice like to the people, like how they can get better, but you never mention that you have like a clinic with Benjamin Simone. Come on, you hiding stuff. You cannot do that.
No, that's it. You need to get lessons. You need to take lessons.
From a good coach.
What
Not
about
me.
what about
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
BK? What about you?
Well, I started pickleball. Again, coming from a tennis background, I played all through high school. Ended up tearing my shoulder. Had surgery freshman year of college. Came to North Carolina. Went to NC State. Played club tennis after I recovered and rehabbed from my surgery. But again, like my shoulder would bother me when I was playing tennis. Like I completely had to change up my game because I couldn't do what I used to do before the shoulder surgery because now I got 4 pins in there holding me back. So it was always a struggle to play tennis and continue playing tennis at the level that I was at. So I didn't get as much enjoyment out of it again because like I was playing pretty high level and now I had to cut back and play lower level. And it was just bothering me a lot. And then this one Thanksgiving, I was with one of my best friends and his family. And at the end of our Thanksgiving dinner, like before we like shut down for the night, his dad came up and said, "Hey, me and a couple of friends are going out to this park to play pickleball." And we were like, "What's pickleball?" So he took us out that next morning. We went and played pickleball for the first time ever. I thought I was pretty good at it when I started because, again, I come from a tennis background. So it's like I felt natural at like that 3.0, 3.5 automatically as soon as you step on the court. But then got my ass handed to me by a couple 65-year-olds. And that's when I was like, this can't happen again. So I need to get better. So that's what really motivated me at the start to get better was because like I'd never had that type of experience with any other sport. Like tennis, like I could go out there. I know I'm not going to get beat by a 65-year-old. Like no offense, but like that's just not going to happen. So to me, I was like, when I first went out, it seemed like a very like simple babyish sport. And then I'm like, there's got to be real skill and real talent to this for like them to be able to play the way they are. And now I need to learn what that is. So like that's what really got me tuned into pickleball. No more injury issues. Like I was doing really well. So when I got to Orlando, I started playing with all these groups. As Ed mentioned, like I would go play in like 20 different facilities. Like every week I would just go to different places, go to different spots, meet new people. Like I've been by myself in the US for like 6-7 years now. And for me, like that's how I meet people is like I just travel, I go around, I meet new people on the course. Like that's how I make friends. So I think I was at this 4-5 tournament, I believe, in our backyard at USTA back when I was still there. And Ed came up to me after a match. I still remember vividly. Ed came up to me after a match, said, there's this guy called Cliff. He watched you playing, and he said he wanted you to come like playing this like 5-0 group that he's hosting at Clear One. So like that's how like that was when I was like, oh my God, I made it. Like that was my big moment. And that's what really like it's like this journey of going where I was at 3-5 for the longest time, never got better. And then I started playing better competition, quickly moved up to 4-0, stagnant again, and then got to play better competition, got to 4-5, stagnant again for like 3-4 months. I was just stuck at 4-5. And I think I came to the group like maybe 3-4 times and like instantly saw my game improve because the mistakes that I was making at 4-5 never got punished until I came up to 5-0. And now I would hit shots that I would be like, oh, this is a winner. And boom, comes right back in my face. I'm like, I can't do that again. So like that's the kind of competition that you need to face to like really get better, because until people are punishing you for your mistakes, you're never going to know what they are. Or you got to go the coaching route where like you look at someone and be like, hey, teach me what the game is, like help me learn strategy. So that's what brought me and Cliff together to try and make all these videos that we've been making with the instructionals. Like we really want to just help people get better, people that are taking the game seriously or even just playing at the amateur level. The game always seems better when you're playing better. So you always have more fun when you're playing better. So that's what we've been trying to do, and it's been a great ride.
Yeah, awesome. We need like take a small break. I think we're gonna finish, guys.
Want to close out?
Yeah, we out of time.
Yeah, we're already 15
We
minutes.
still have one talking point. We could probably quickly
What do you want to hit? The rating?
run through that. The ratings, yeah.
Ratings? Yeah, let's hit that.
The ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing.
The court is adjourned. I'm just gonna say the court is adjourned, and we're out of here.
If you guys don't mind, can we end it with a prayer?
I can say
Yeah. If you're gonna end it with like chorus, do it.
Yeah. Do it to that one? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we still got. Now we're
Somebody
pretend,
gavel.
we're gonna pretend we're not here in the show, and you're just gonna ask the next question.
Yeah,
And
we'll go there.
through the rankings, and then take a breath.
Yeah.
And then wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right, you introduce it. Yeah. Let me introduce it. We'll run through it real quick. And then, yeah.
Oh, you don't have to. Okay, said to me, mine's gonna be short. I'm just gonna say 3D. You want to know something about me? Go watch my Cliff Pickleball YouTube and
All right. Cool. All right. So I know I threw out a lot of numbers there, 3-0, 3-5, 4-0. So for somebody that's never experienced those and what that rating means in pickleball, what do you guys think about the rating system? Like, where would you rate yourself, and how do you think it can get better? David, you want to kick us off?
Well, I think, so at the moment, there's two rating systems. Is the UTBR, which is the USAPA, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Which I think is total trash.
Outdated is what I call it.
Well, I mean, I started as a 4-0, and I've won like 24 tournaments. I'm still a 4-0. So if I want to go play nationals, I can go play at a 4-0.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. If I want to play in a tournament where there's seating and stuff like that, I might not get in because I'm a 4-0. So it's just like, what are you guys doing? So Duper, I think, is great. It's what I don't like about Duper is where you can record direct games. I don't think you should be able to do that. But apart from that, I think Duper is on the right track. I really enjoyed Duper. I think it's nice. See your history and all that kind of.
what do you mean by that? If people still complaining about it, even if you
always remember it's pickleball. You're always gonna have people complain.
no, but David, did you see my T-shirt? Even if my friends say I'm a 5-0, when they see me playing, they say I'm a 3.5.
Yeah, but
Not the
that is your own fault because you play like a 2-5 because you play at 5%. You know, so when you put in effort, you're actually gonna look pretty good.
Okay.
Well, personally, I think Duper took a step back when the whole transition happened from pickleball tournaments to pickleball brackets, because while they were still in the pickleball tournament system, the Duper system was built to automatically record all the matches from pickleball tournaments. So there was a constant influx of matches in the Duper system. So like the rating was getting constantly updated.
Yeah.
Once they switched to pickleball brackets now has their own rating system within their like system. Is called PBR. It's called the Pickleball Brackets rating. And that rating, honestly, now is probably more accurate than the Duper rating, because like they're including more results than Duper is now, because they're not sending their matches to Duper anymore. So like for somebody to go in and enter their matches into Duper, one, either their opponent has to approve it, which when they were in pickleball tournaments, they didn't have to do because the tournament director automatically just sent all the matches through, or the tournament director has to go in and upload every single match on Duper, which like not a lot of people want to put that effort in. So like Pickleball Brackets rating now is starting to get more accurate than Duper, because Duper just doesn't have the results anymore.
Who owns Duper?
MLP, Steve Coon.
Okay, so and who owns Pickleball Brackets?
Somebody else.
Dundon.
Okay, so don't you think with the merger that they're gonna?
You would assume.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
I think it was just part of the whole.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
like
one up each other.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, are they gonna just combine the two with the PBR and the Duper, or do you think it's gonna have to be where one usurps the other and just becomes the official like brand?
The PBR and Duper, just merge.
Easier said than done. We'll see if they can cooperate.
Oh,
again.
exactly.
Okay, for now, this is what we have. We have to pray, so nothing we can do about it. And I think it's getting a little bit better. Now people understand. So now when you're watching the game on TV, it's not the same when you're watching the game on live. So this is why I think, in my opinion, most of the people, when they see you playing, David, they say you're like 4.0 at best.
3.5 at best.
No.
Well, side note, I mean, who posts my videos?
The Russian
picks of
elephant in the room. Let's address that.
Yeah, unless I play a great game and I missed a call, he'll post it. Otherwise, he'll
no. But
pick
the thing is, the Russian has to post the game he runs, so it doesn't matter if the game is great. But if he lost the game, you're not gonna see that game. So
yeah, he'll only post it if he won. Yeah.
I got to defend Mark. He plays games he loses, and I will say, Mark told me this yesterday. He goes, the person out of our group gets the most views, period, you. That's why you get game tape on our channel. He really doesn't like you, man.
That is in your contract, Joey. That is in your contract. You have to say that.
You might have to
Mark
delete
wrote
that.
it in. Mark wrote it in.
You have to say that.
Defend me at all times.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we're gonna do the outro now,
All right.
and I'm just gonna say, I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right.
To that camera.
No, not yet.
Oh.
Thank you guys for making the drive and come and talk with us.
We didn't give them a choice.
Yeah.
Wait,
Hopefully-
start again. I was looking down when you said that.
Oh, it
Sorry.
doesn't matter. Thank you guys for making the drive to come and talk with us. Hopefully this is not the last. Even we know that our good friend Ed is leaving. So what's up with that, Ed? Where are you going?
Moving up to Charlotte, North Carolina.
So
Jack Sock needs a partner.
Yeah, I mean, Selkirk buddies right there.
So I'll tell you something. Why are you moving? So there's pickleball out there.
Oh yeah.
A quick playing.
No, pickleball is big up there. So I'm gonna play with everybody up there, and hopefully, I'll get a little better so I can get Jack as a partner one day. Who knows?
See you play with Jack.
We're gonna miss you. Okay, so again, thank you, Virus, for sponsoring this episode. And
Yeah, we ready to close out?
yeah, we're ready to close.
Yeah.
Let's do that sponsorship thank you again.
Yeah.
I was like thinking,
How good we got?
If you want me to do the outro, I'll do the outro.
yeah, we do the outro right after that. So
Do we have to be here for the outro?
yeah. Oh, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah. He's gonna.
I'll just do the entire thing.
He's gonna do the entire thing because
Cliff's voice is dying. Like I feel legitimately bad.
I'm
His
not
voice is
supposed to
dying.
be like talking. Joey. Let's finish.
All right, ready? Looking into this camera. Close.
All right. Thank you guys so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. Of course, now we got to go play some pickleball, so we're out of here. But thank you guys for watching. Always appreciate the audience. If you have any feedback and stuff that you'd like to see for our next episode, leave that down in the comments. We'd love to know what topics you'd like us to cover. If there's stuff that we missed here that you'd like to add on, again, just put it in the comments and we'd be more than happy to get back to you. Until then, the court is adjourned, and we'd like to thank Voris Pickleball for sponsoring this video.